Hi guys, for today's video homework we're going to be looking at standard form, also known as scientific notation. So obviously it makes our ability to work with really large and really small numbers easier. Let's start with a bit of revision. So the first one I have for us here is 3, 4, 5, 300. Now let's think about what we need to do for standard form. We want our number to be somewhere between greater than 1 but less than 10. So that's our aim, 1 to less than 10, and I know we can do that by moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jumps, and we end up with 3.453, and then we multiply that by our base 10 and how many jumps we've made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 to the power of 5. That's now written in standard form. We can work the other way as well. So here's our very small number, 0.000062. Let's move that to there, 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 and get it to 6.2. 6.2. I'm going to times it by our base 10 and see how many times we've moved it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. But in the negative direction. So we have 6.2 times 10 to the power of negative 5. Alright, let's now use that to work on something a little more complicated. What we're going to do with this problem here is we're going to put all of them in standard form and then see if that makes it easier for us to work with them. Okay, so straight into it, 3.2, and how many jumps did we make to get there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So times 10 to the power of 7, and that's all multiplied by 4. And how many jumps do we do to get to 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But in the opposite direction, times 10 to the power of negative 6. And that's all over this one, which we can make 1.6. I'll make that a little neater. 1.6 times base 10. How many times did we move to get there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. This then equals, we can move these around and go 3.2 times 4 times 10 to the power of 7 times 10 to the power of negative 6 over 1.6 times 10 to the power of 4. Let's give ourselves some more room here. This will equal 4 times 3.2 is 12.8 times 10 to the power of 1. Multiplying our bases here means we just add those together. That's over 1.6 times 10 to the power of 4. Okay, let's get our calculator out. And we have got 12.8 divided by 1.6. 12.8 divided by 1.6 equals 8. So this equals here 8. Remove that 10 up, it becomes negative 3 times 10 to the negative 3. And there is our answer. If we wanted to write that, we could write that as 0.008. Alright, our final problem. This is a harder problem. Let's do this step by step and get through it. If we can do these ones, we can do the exercises for the day. I'm going to evaluate these. So first of all, we're going to use a bit of substitution in here. So we've got our values for A and B, and so let's write them in. Right, we know we have root 5 here. A is 1.34 times 10 to the negative 10 to the power of negative 10, and that is all over b squared, and b is 2.7 times 10 to the negative 8, and that is all squared. Okay, let's get it out of this form back into our index form at the top, and that therefore becomes 1.34 times 10 to the negative power of negative 10, all, we know that, becomes all raised to the power of 1 over 5, and that's all over 2.7 squared times 10 inside outside of the bracket. I'm going to multiply them together to the power of negative 16. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we can see we're getting this into a form where we're going to be able to solve it shortly. This now equals 1.34 raised to a fifth times 10 times 1/5, negative 10 times 1/5 now becomes 10 to the negative 2, all over 2.7 squared times 10 to the negative 16. Fantastic. Alright, to solve this part here, this is a division problem. We're going to have to use our calculator to do that. So I'm going to get my calculator up. I'm going to put in 1.34. I want root 5 of 1.34. So let's clear out what we did last time. I need the shift here and here. It's going to be 5, and it was here. Use my buttons, 1.34. I'm going to move over a bit, and then I'm going to divide that by 2.7 squared, 2.7 squared, and that is going to give me an answer of, I'm going to write that here, 0.1454, 0.1454, just so I don't forget it. That's the 4 decimal places. Okay, now I've got 0.1454 times, I'm going to move this up, I have to change the sign and make it positive, 10 to the 14 raised to the power of 14, almost there. Last bit, got to get it into standard form. Remember, in standard form, we need a number that's between 1 and 10. So I'm going to have to move my decimal 1 that way to make it 1.454 times 10. I moved it 1 in the negative direction, that becomes 13. 10 to the power of 13. There is the answer. Okay, if you can follow what I've done on those exercises, you're going to be fine for tomorrow's activities. They follow very closely along these lines. Alright, thanks for listening. Have a good night.